Well, thank you for having me on. And of course, you know that I like to talk about this topic because I think it's extremely
Yes.
important and it is affecting families, not just locally, but of course, all over the country. But
Definitely.
when we're talking about a public nuisance, and I don't want to get into the legal weeds so much, but it is causing uh, public entities such as school districts, in this instance, the New York City Department of Education, and even public hospitals, an awful lot of time and cost.
Mm.
Uh, to combat the prevalent use of social media in schools, uh, it's not only because it detracts from the educational mission, but also because there is a huge amount of measurable increase in teen mental harm, mental illness, anxiety, depression, suicide, attempted suicide, harming themselves, cutting themselves, disputes between people, people getting cyberbullied, instances where people are doing harm to themselves, whether it's reactive to a trend on social media or something of that nature. You know, the good news is that New York State has taken some pretty affirmative steps to keep cell phones out of schools. There is a law now banning cell phones from being in schools, which I think is terrific. But in the meantime, this has been ongoing for years, and it's been building up, I would estimate about 15 years, where it's become more and more invasive into the everyday life of young people.
Well,
And
well, if I may, if I may ask a question, you tied a bunch of actual physical harm situations. You just described them. How do you tie those into social media, though?
well, this is where a lot of the trends come from. This is where a lot of these viral um, stunts and things like that come from. Look, in New York,
Okay.
for instance, you have people that are doing something called subway surfing. I don't know if you've seen that train surfing, where they actually jump on the top of trains and they try to ride them out.
Oh my gosh, I must have missed that.
It's resulted in a number of deaths. But that is just one aspect of what we're talking about. I think that what we see more frequently is that there's this very steady increase of mental harm that people are going through. And how does that really tie into social media? Well, it ties into social media because social media knows what everybody creates their own individual reality.